Hello fellow trainers, welcome to our Should You Buy Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. After a couple of middling entries to the Pokemon franchise in both Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu and Pokemon Sword and Shield, we finally got a refreshing take on the Pokemon franchise in Pokemon Legends Arceus, and we're excited to see if Pokemon Scarlet and Violet continue the positive trend in the new Pokemon games on Nintendo Switch. If you're excited for more Pokemon and other monster taming content, please make sure to like and subscribe, and let's jump on in. And just so you know, this will contain minimal spoilers for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and we have limited gameplay to the very beginning of the game to minimize spoilers as well. But just wanted to note that this will have some spoilers for both story, gameplay, mechanics, things like that. And speaking of story, I think it's one of the strongest stories, if not the strongest story in the Pokemon franchise. There are three main lines you'll go down: Path of Legends, Starfall Street, and of course the traditional Victory Road storyline as well. As a quick reminder of the three different stories you can go through in the game, Path of Legends will have you go up against some giant Pokemon which are really interesting. Starfall Street is where you go against the villainous team for this game, and then the traditional Victory Road is going for all the gym badges and then becoming the champion of your new region. Each storyline is extremely heartfelt. It's well worth going through and completing each storyline, and as you'll see throughout the game, they work really well together as you come to the end of the game and even beyond. The last thing we'll talk about regarding the storylines in this game is how long the game is. It's going to be roughly at least 30 hours, even if you're beelining all the storylines throughout the game and the content, and that's without meandering, that's without exploring, that's without any of the other additional content in the game. So it really is a full game in terms of story and content. Probably well over 40 to 50 hours if you just wanted to play through the story and really enjoy it. So if you're someone who, when you play these Pokemon games, you're wanting more from the story, or you want more content or a more complete game, you're going to love this, and you should definitely consider buying it for that reason. And to be fair, we probably should have started with this, but it is a Pokemon game, so we want to know about the new Pokemon, and I think they're all really awesome. I feel as though it's not a reboot of the new Pokemon designs, but it feels very intentional. It feels really ingrained with our culture now. It feels very modern, and it feels like they made a Pokemon game and new Pokemon designs based off what they wanted without being beholden to previous designs, tropes, and other things like that. With that being said, the new regional forms are awesome. There are a ton of new regional forms in both Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and I haven't seen one that missed yet. They're really awesome. I'm not going to show them here, but a few that stand out. Actually, I won't even say them. I don't want to spoil it. They're great. I highly recommend you search the game for them. If you haven't seen them already due to spoilers, don't look at the spoilers because the new regional forms are awesome, and it brings a lot of character to Pokemon that you've seen since maybe Generation 1. And I think you're really going to enjoy that. So if you are someone who likes a really robust Pokemon roster with typings, abilities, new forms, this game won't disappoint. Of course, it's not going to have every Pokemon, and these games probably never will. But for the Pokemon that are included, they're really great. They really add to the game. The starters are amazing. The regional forms are amazing. The exclusives are really cool. The legendaries, it's awesome. They really hit it out of the park with their new Pokemon designs and regional forms. So again, if you're someone who, that's your main focus in these games, is you want to see the new Mons, you're definitely going to enjoy it. And again, another reason why I recommend you'd buy it if that's something you're interested in. The elephant in the room for a lot of these games in terms of Pokemon is the performance, both FPS wise, presentation wise, graphic wise. Overall, the cinematic scenes are beautiful and some of the best I've seen in the Pokemon franchise, if not the best cinematic scenes I've seen, just based off of detail, graphics, just the overall weight of the stories and cinema that you're seeing. In terms of the overworld graphics, unfortunately, they're still a little lacking. They're kind of blurry. You can definitely tell when you're switching between sand and water and grass terrain. And unfortunately, in denser areas, you are going to see FPS drops. I'm really hoping that as the game is out longer and we have more patches, that the performance will increase, because that's the real big bugaboo with this game, unfortunately. It is so big, it is so vast, that at times the Switch really struggles to keep up with that. I'm not sure why with Pokemon games we keep experiencing that. We have things like Breath of the Wild, they're on the Switch, they're huge, dynamic, open world games that don't seem to struggle nearly as much. But you'll even notice in like gym battles where people in the backgrounds will be going really slowly, kind of at like a really sluggish pace. You'll see people in the academy or out on trails that are moving really blocky, as you're coming towards them, and then they kind of move it, a little bit faster as you get closer. So overall, definitely lacking in the performance, and I think is the big thing that keeps this game from being what I would say is the best Pokemon game hands down, is that performance just takes away from some of the realty you get out of the world, a lot of the benefits you get of having so much space and so much to travel through, is that it seems like you're struggling to get through it at times. And that leads me to the next thing I want to discuss, which is the overall size of this game. It's billed as an open world RPG. We've heard that before from Pokemon, and it quite wasn't that. But with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I truly think this is a open world RPG. You're not jumping between hubs like you were in Legends Arceus. You can traverse the entire world if you'd like to. In the early game, it's a little disorienting, or it was for me, because it is so vast. And the things that you want to do in terms of navigating the world and the different terrains aren't quite possible. You can unlock that as you play throughout the game. But once you have all your unlockables and you're just traversing the world, it's huge. And I do think that contributes to, at certain times, the performance dropping under, 30 frames per second, or seeing a little bit of lack of detail, because it's just so vast and it's so big, and it's on Switch, and we all know that hardware is aging. If this were on a Switch Pro or a next-gen Switch, man, it would look even better. But it truly is open world. It's huge. There's not a whole lot of loading screens between things. You're just kind of going in and out, and I really enjoyed that. It seemed very seamless. And again, if you wanted to get an open world Pokemon game, and that's what you're looking forward to in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I do think they truly delivered on that. And you will enjoy the open world aspect of the game and just traveling and feeling like you're on a real adventure. I do want to point out a few more things before we get to our final conclusions. I want to keep this one short. This is the should you buy, so you should be watching this before you're buying the game, or if you're on the fence a little bit, and we will have our complete review up shortly. But I do want to note that the stories are so great, because all of the characters in this game are really enjoyable. The different gym leaders you come across, the different members of the villainous teams, your exploits on the Path of Legend storyline. Everyone you come across really adds to the story. There wasn't any point in time where I thought this character is annoying, or this personality type is just kind of shoehorned into the game. Every single character, every storyline felt like it added to the game, which is I really can't say is true for other Pokemon games that I've played. So I really enjoyed interacting. I really enjoyed seeing all the different characters and a lot of their different backstories and histories coalesce in a really climactic way towards the end of the game, which I thought was just magnificent. And my final thought before we get into our conclusions and wrap up this video is the music in the game was great. At times it was a little lacking, only because it wasn't constantly playing. You do feel the vastness of the games at times where the music is more subdued, but when that music's cranked up and you're using those soundtracks from Pokemon, they sounded amazing and awesome, and definitely added to the library of music that we have available to us to listen to at another time. So overall, just really positive things to say about the game. This is the should you buy. In my opinion, if you're a Pokemon fan looking for an open world RPG with a great Pokemon roster, interesting characters, and just a vast open world to explore, I definitely recommend you check out this Pokemon game. However, if you're concerned about performance issues such as drop frames, not the highest texture qualities for the surrounding terrains and mountains and things like that, if overall performance is what you're eyeing the most and you want to see the most improvement there, you may be disappointed. And again, I'm hoping that changes as the game is out for longer and we get more patches and performance hopefully increases. But unfortunately, it is still a Pokemon game in that way. But overall, if you're a Pokemon fan, I think you're going to enjoy this one. It's over 40 to 50 hours of content, and that's without exploring, shiny hunting, any other side quests, or any other post-game content. We will have our full review out shortly, so I highly recommend you check that out. If you enjoy Pokemon and other monster taming content, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Alright, bye everyone.